Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 It's the TLS show, coming to you live from the TLS show. It's the TLS show, coming to you.
Hey, welcome to the Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. Social commentary, hot topics, and amazing guests with a ton of fun and shenanigans along the way. My name is Neil Nix. This week, we've got author, attorney, and entrepreneur Marques Eason sitting in with us for the entire show. You remember Marcus from season 1, episode 41, where he shared his traumatic experience with COVID, needing to have his fingers amputated. He's back and letting us know how he's doing. And he's going to tell us all about his memoir, I Ain't Done Living Yet. Then we've got some topics for you. I want to talk about the wife of Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas trying to help overturn the 2020 election. Lizzie is sharing a story about an infant kidnap victim who's looking for a shorter sentence for her kidnapper. And guest hosting this week, Micah. He wants to talk about an opera telling the story of the lynching of Emmett Till coming under fire because of its white writer. All right, before we get into the show, let me introduce you to my co-hosts for the next hour. First up, the professor, journalist, editor, sports intern, mentor at ESPN out of Washington, D.C., Miss Liz E.
What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday, fun day. We have 2 more games left. Well, actually 1.5 left before we have all 4 participants in next weekend's Final Four. Let's go, Duke. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go, Duke.
I'm
Let's
surprised
go,
they made
Duke.
it to the Elite Eight.
Clearly, you don't watch men's basketball. But anyway, let's go, Duke. They will be in the Final Four next weekend in Nolens, where one of my interns will be covering that particular tournament, while I have 2 others who will be in Minneapolis covering the women's Final Four. So
Nice.
it's going to be a busy week. It's going
Sounds
to be a
like
busy week, but I'm excited.
Sounds like it. All right, and sitting in for Rob B this week, a familiar face around here, the host of everyone's favorite TLS segment, Movie Time with Micah, and also the host of the Black on Black Cinema and Nerd Apocalypse podcast, Mr. Micah Payne.
The voice!
Oh,
The voice!
man. Every time you introduce somebody, I hear that. Right on, man.
Right on, man.
It just tickles me, man. It just tickles me. I'm happy to be here, subbing in for Rob this week. I don't know if I have any witty banter other than I have a 3-year-old and it is kicking my ass. So
3-year-olds would do that.
Yeah. Can't wait in 3 more years to do it again.
Wait, say that again?
I have another baby coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Got another baby coming.
All right.
Thank you.
This is news. Dropping bombs today. Look at you.
Yeah, we haven't shared it with a lot of people, but you all are family, so I figured I would love to let you in on my joke.
Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
Micah.
Thank you very much.
I wasn't sure if I caught what you were saying. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Just dropping it on there like that. Okay, I got you. I see how you're doing things today.
Dropping like it's hot, Mike.
All right, and finally, our special guest host. He was one of the earliest survivors of COVID-19 and the author of the book, I Ain't Done Living Yet. Again, sitting in for the whole show today, covering for Gianni Storm, let's welcome attorney and entrepreneur Marques Eason.
Hello. How
Hey,
y'all
Marcus.
doing? Thank you
Good.
for having me on here today. Sitting here, I hope I know see the camera catching my eye, catch glimpses of the school. I'm a hurricane. I wanted to do the show today, so I'm watching them. They're starting to unravel a little bit in the second half, and the heart that's carried them through the tournament is starting to, do what like Liz said earlier, what 10 seeds do, starting to show their true colors. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not sure how much longer they're gonna survive, but hopefully we'll pull out a miracle, and you won't have to see me get too unraveled while I'm on the show.
In the middle of the show. So if we hear you screaming out hard, then we know what that's about, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
All right, Marcus. Well,
absolutely.
I have a clip of your last visit to our show where you shared your terrifying story dealing with COVID. So let me play that real quick.
I do remember getting wheeled to an actual hospital room and watching TV for a while. And then after that, I don't remember anything for the next, I guess I was out for 15, 16 days under sedation. While I was under sedation, I had a series of issues. I had to have 2 dialysis sessions because of my kidney. Apparently, I had a kidney issue. I had 2 blood transfusions. I also had some internal bleeding, and I developed clots in both my left leg and my right hand. So the tips of my right index finger and my thumb were pitch black when I woke up, and the tip of my pinky was pitch black when I woke up. I said, "Look, I felt the finger trying to push the tip up, and I was in extraordinary pain. And
Mm.
I told him, I said, if my quality of life will be better, just go ahead and take them off. I was in the hospital for 29 days total, and then they transported me to a rehab center where I was there for I was supposed to be there for 15 days. They let me out in 11. The only reason I know about it is, from my mother and my daughter and other folks that spoke, that spoke to me post that. There were a lot of text messages, mainly from my daughter that I read that that broke my heart. She was a trooper. She called the hospital uh, every day. She she talked to the nurses. From what I understand, she got into, they had some issues with one of the nurses or whatever. But she was the first voice that I heard when I woke up.
Wow. That was a harrowing story when we were listening to it. I remember it clearly. I mean, we've talked
Yeah.
about you several times on the show since. How are you
Yeah.
feeling now?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm fully recovered for the most part. I'm listening to myself speak because I think that's actually improved within the last several months. For a while, there was some hesitations, and I still hear them a little bit, over in recent dialogues. Whereas, there may be sound like I'm struggling to breathe,
Mm.
but I don't really hear them now. So I know that area has improved at least over the last 6 months. Personally, everything is good. Like I said, guys know I have a law firm that I run out of here in Chicago. I've had, since then, I've added staff. I'm able to take time off when I need to take time off. Me and my daughter have been able to, continue our great relationship, and I spend as much time with her as possible. Even though I'm in Chicago, she's in Atlanta. We try to meet up if I don't go down there. She comes here during the summer because she hates the cold. But she'll come during the summertime. We're going to New York this week because we got some things. She's a singer, and we've got some things going on in New York. Not this week, in April. So we travel uh, quite a bit together. So, but everything is good overall. Overall. So
Right. Lizzie and Micah, feel free to jump in here, but I know you released a book of a memoir of your experiences. So can you tell us about that?
yes.
How's it doing?
The book is doing good as far as I'm concerned. I wrote the book. It's called "I Ain't Done Living Yet." I was planning to have a copy sitting here next to me, but I
Oh,
didn't bring one.
I got you
Put one
covered.
next to me. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I ain't done living yet. It was when I woke up from COVID. I can't explain it, but it was just something on me. I got to tell my story, and that's I was as you guys know, I was in the hospital for 29 days on a ventilator for 15 days. Spent another 14 additional days in the hospital. and then got released to a rehabilitation center, rehab center, because I couldn't walk. I couldn't do basic functions like brush my teeth, tie my shoe, things of that nature. But I wanted to tell my story, and at the time, I wasn't able to see guests or anything in the hospital room. But my mother was able to deliver a notebook to my rehab center so that I could start writing notes, things that I didn't want to forget when it came time to actually writing the book. And then I was able to get my paralegal and office manager, Terry. She actually brought my laptop to the rehab center. So we were laughing with the nurses. They said, "You are the only patient in here that's actually working." And I reminded them. I didn't tell them at the time I was writing the book, but I told them that I was a solo practitioner. We had to. I had to work. I kill what I eat in order to make a living, and I've got people that rely on me. Staff members, my family members, and things of
Mhm.
that nature. So, but the book is mainly about. I'm sorry, I know I got a little off topic.
Oh, that's
The book
fine.
is really
Yeah. I remember you telling
my
that story.
yeah, it's really about my struggles with COVID, but also took it as an opportunity to chronicle a lot of important things that I overcame throughout my life early on in terms of things that happened at the undergraduate level at the University of Illinois, things that happened, as far as me becoming an attorney and going to law school, the time I spent in Atlanta homeless that a lot of people didn't know about.
Oh, I didn't know
Um, you
about
know,
that.
yeah, I spent several days. I was working for GE Electric at the time, and I spent time in my truck, my good old 2003 Ford Explorer. That I used to sleep in the parking lot of the hotel that was right next door to my office in Alpharetta. I would go down in the morning. I would go to LA Fitness, work out, shower, and come back to work. Fully dressed like if nothing ever happened.
Hmm.
But that was probably in the 2012 time frame. So it was an opportunity to tell all those stories into one. Of course, the story about me becoming an attorney. It took me. I graduated from law school in 2010. It took me 7 times to pass the bar before I finally passed it in 2017. I'm sure you can find a clip of me on Facebook crying on Facebook saying I'm finally passed, finally passed. So that thing like so. I finally got licensed in 2017. So here we are, 5 years now. And like I said, I run a firm out of here that practices primarily in real estate, probate, and estate planning, and we're doing extremely well. And looking to expand to other areas in other cities after 5 years is my 5 year period that I anniversary that I'll reach later in June this year.
Nice.
So,
There's my.
That's awesome. So I was not able to hear your previous appearance on the show. How did you
mm.
end up getting COVID? Do you know? Can you like pinpoint it or?
The only thing that makes sense is that I had a birthday party at a venue about a week before I started showing symptoms. It was a performance here in Chicago that I actually had my daughter come down and perform, which we've always done it on our birthdays. And I was fine a week leading, afterwards, and then somewhere around, like I said, about a week later, is when I woke up with symptoms where I couldn't. I think I had diarrhea and dehydration. So when my doctor, when I first talked to him, he never thought. He said to this day he never thought I had COVID because that's weren't system. Those weren't the symptoms that they stated that were clear signs of COVID at the time. So he told me to get some Imodium D for the diarrhea and get some Gatorade or Pedialyte for the uh, what's the oh God, I just forgot it.
For the
The
dehydration.
Dehydration.
dehydration. Thank you. Oh man. So
Mhm.
had symptoms for a couple of days, for 2 or 3 days, and then finally on day three, my brother came by to do a wellness check, and I live at that time I lived in the on the third floor in my building. I live on the first floor now ever since COVID, but at the time he tried to, ring my doorbell, get into the building. He called me because I was in the bedroom sleep, and he said, "Come go open the door." And tried to walk to the door, and I collapsed in front of the door. And I said, bring somebody else. And I had my phone with me, and I could text him, ring somebody else's bell because I can't get back up to reach the door. So he rang my neighbor's door across the hall. She let him in, and she came walked across the hall. We had electronic locks, so I opened the front door, and she saw me sitting there on the floor. And by the time he made it up the stairs, they helped me get to the couch, and he immediately called 911. And that's when I live 3 blocks away from University of Chicago Hospital here in Hyde Park, a neighborhood in Chicago. So within about half hour, I was at the hospital, and at some point, I guess they tested me for COVID and told me that I tested positive. Told me that we're going to have to, at that time the only way to treat COVID patients was apparently to put them on a ventilator.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of things we know now they don't necessarily have to put you on a ventilator.
There's more treatments
I
available. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder, if knowing what I know now, if a lot of the things that happened to me had to happen, because I was on a ventilator. I remember, you guys remember, I had internal bleeding, I had pneumonia, I had to have 2 emergency dialysis
Yep.
sessions, kidney issues. I had blood clots in my leg and in my fingers, which is caused my fingers to have to be amputated, the tips of them to have to be amputated. It's a lot of things that I know now that we didn't know then. So I guess in a sense, I don't look back on it and say, I look at it as a bad experience. It is what it is. It's my story now,
Yep.
and for whatever reason, God kept me here to tell this story, to do the things that He saw fit for me to do, to continue to do. I mean, I've had a great, you know, great 2 years since the last time I was on the show.
Yeah.
I've
That's
traveled,
awesome.
quite a bit. I've gone to all kind of sporting events. I'm a big Bears fan. I got a chance to go to see them in LA, sit in the front row at SoFi Stadium. I got to go get rented a suite, rented a box in Vegas for the Raiders game, and I was able to treat my family on Thanksgiving Day to the Bears Lions games in Detroit.
Wow.
So I went to the Field of Dreams game in Iowa where they filmed the
Wow.
actual Field of Dreams movie
Mm-hmm.
when the White Sox and the Yankees played, and witnessed a walk-off home run by the White Sox in the bottom of the ninth inning. I mean, it was
So you
just amazing.
so you're
I've had
enjoying
amazing.
life.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
so it changed your outlook. So nearly dying changed your outlook,
Yeah.
obviously.
I think so. It's just a matter of I'm gonna enjoy life because none of us knows the end of our days here. We don't know exactly
That's
when
right.
it'll be. Only thing that we can control is the quality of life that we have on here.
Yep.
And for all the things, obviously I make saving, I save money, more so for the future and for my kid and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't take none of this with you. There's nothing, I can't sit there wrap my arms around cash and take it in the casket with me, and it's gonna go up to heaven with me. So might as well, you enjoy the time I'm here, as I see Kansas has stretched out their lead on my Canes.
I just looked at the score. I just looked at the score.
Right, right. So I want to make time to enjoy things here. I've gotten a chance to travel with my dad. We've gone through several games over the past year, and like I told you, my daughter and I, she did a little mini tour last June through July. We call it the Chitlin tour. Don't ask why,
Chitlin
but
tour.
it was something the promoters set up for her, and we did it just because she's up and coming. So,
Nice.
uh, but we've had, I've had a great time, and that's I'm just focused on, I'm 45, just turned 45, maybe about 2 weeks ago on
Oh,
March 10th.
youngin.
Oh yeah. So I'm just trying to enjoy life, because none of it's not promised to us,
It's not.
past tomorrow.
It's not.
And my story almost got cut short at 43.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing to be here. I think even I think I talked a little bit about the strained relationship between me and my stepfather in my book. And
You did.
since
Well, I think you talked about it briefly in the show,
yeah,
last show.
right. Yeah. So a lot of that has changed. I just realized, there's a lot that I benefit from, him being in my life. I'm
That's
still
awesome.
praying on, my other daughter that I don't have the relationship that, I have with Amber, the one I would always talk about. But, someday, I'm hoping to have that picture to post on my social media where all of us are together. Because
Oh,
I have,
wonderful.
another daughter here in Chicago and a grandbaby. that I've never met before.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
so all that's important to me, and I'm prayerful that the time will heal that situation as well. But in the meantime, I'm just going to live the life and work with what I got. You know, enjoy it.
It's good to hear your perseverance. I mean, I got to promo the Beyond the Scars podcast. It sounds like it'd be perfect for you actually to be on there, kind of talk about where you come from. Um,
Yeah.
so actually, let me real quick do that. Just got to remind everyone, check out the Beyond the Scars podcast with Gianni and Olivia. Real people, real stories of perseverance. Subscribe today anywhere you get your podcast or find them at www.beyondthescars.show. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on our topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, so actually, the main topic, the first one is me. I'm up first today. This past Thursday, news broke that Virginia Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas, was relentlessly texting Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows from November 2020 up until the Capitol insurrection. And she was urging Meadows and others to pursue Trump's baseless election fraud charges. And at one point, she appeared to reference her husband. Now, it's one thing to have a zealous wife that supports ridiculousness, but where it gets shady is Justice Thomas was the one dissenting Supreme Court vote to block investigators from finding out about his wife's role in the insurrection. Because on January 19th of this year, by a vote of 8-1, Clarence Thomas, without providing reason, which is somewhat unusual, voted against allowing congressional investigators from gaining access to messages that former President Donald Trump claimed were still covered by executive privilege, messages which included Virginia Thomas's texts. So, my co-host, my question to you: does this implicate Clarence Thomas as part of the conspiracy, and what should be done about this? Should he be impeached? Let's start with Liz. Sorry.
This is
This is your
proof
boy.
of sedition. This is once again, full of lies and shenanigans. That Neo. This is proof of sedition. This is proof of treason. This is proof of a conspiracy and an effort to overthrow the election and the government. And I think, yes, I think Clarence Thomas should be impeached. I think his wife should be investigated to the fullest extent. Because think about this, okay? We have the former president's chief of staff, right? Mark Meadows. And I think Neo just broke it down, but I'm just gonna break it down like we're kindergartners. Because a lot of people don't understand the seriousness of this and what would have happened if this had been Democrats. That's a whole other conversation, right? But this was the chief of staff of the former president of the United States having private phone calls with the wife of a Supreme Court justice. And she's encouraging him in his effort to overthrow the election. In some of those text messages to Mark Meadows, she references her best friend, right? She doesn't say his name. She's smart enough not to say his name, but she references him as, or the person that she talked to, as her best friend. And we know that they have referenced each other as that before publicly, right? And it should also be noted that we don't know if this is all of the information, that if Mark Meadows submitted all of the information, there could be other text messages out there that he chose not to submit. This is a complete violation of the Constitution, of what I consider to be patriotism and our democracy. So, yes, off with all of their heads. Off with all of their heads.
What do you think, Micah?
I am not a lawyer, but I am married to one. So by the process of transference, I know everything about law. Look, like all savvy criminals, the fact that Virginia Thomas did not mention Clarence
name.
Thomas by name,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have any legal recourse to do anything. Should he? I think Clarence Thomas is well overdue for retirement. I'm not gonna, wish death on him like some of my friends do,
Some of,
but
some of my friends have been wishing death all week.
but this doesn't look good, man. It really, really doesn't. And if Clarence Thomas has any has if he wants to save face, if he wants to preserve any type of legacy that he has as a justice, I feel like he needs to at least step down and retire and just say, hey, this part of my life is over. Because people aren't going to let this go.
Yeah.
Nor should they. And it just doesn't look good, Clarence.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good.
Yeah. Real quick, if whoever has the texting going, can we mute that? It's really loud. But so Marcus, now
Yes.
you are a attorney, and
Mhm.
I really, really wanted to get your perspective on this. Obviously, do you think he is part of that conspiracy? Um, and do you think he should be impeached? Let me just ask you.
Well, first off, the texting was coming through on my laptop, so that I do not know how without actually muting.
I see.
So I apologize for that.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm not a criminal attorney. I'm a civil attorney, but I think to answer the question whether or not he's part of the conspiracy, it's I would say it's probably likely. And then in the civil courts, it's not the standard of proof is not it's different from in criminal law. It could be probably true or probably more true than not is more so the standard. But I think this raises a bigger question, or really puts a microscope on where we are as a country, because we elected Donald Trump as president in the first place.
Mm,
So why did he get
preach.
elected? Is it that was Hillary that bad, or are people really that upset and disappointed with Hillary, or hopefully this doesn't extend? They were just that angry or racist because we had just come off having a black president in this
Oh, that's
country,
exactly what
and,
happened.
and they
Well,
I mean, that's a real possibility. And for we are just learning so many things on a daily basis. Seems like now with that are coming out about what happened on January 6th. I'm sure there are a lot of players that we see in the news on a daily basis on the Republican side that were more involved in this situation than what has been presented. And I'm sure we're going to learn about some more players that's going to come out. But do I think specifically that Clarence Thomas was a behind on this? I'll say this: Dan Rather asked two questions: when did he know, and what did he know, or something
That's right.
along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm sure he knew about it, and I'm sure his reasons for not giving an opinion, as far as him rejecting a dissenting opinion, has to do with why he didn't want. All he wanted to do was make sure, as the article suggested, protect his wife.
Yeah. He had
So
to been.
I
but also,
actually do.
He had
Go
to
ahead.
been trying to protect his wife.
Yeah,
but also
absolutely.
look at how brazen she was, because it's not just these text messages that happened immediately after the election in November. She was
Mhm.
there on January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was at the insurrection. Like, she didn't take over the Capitol like
Mhm.
those other yahoos and terrorists, but she was
She was at the
there
event where
on.
he spoke, where
She was
Trump
at
spoke.
the event supporting this nonsense.
Mhm.
And let me just go back to the Clintons and Barack Obama a bit, because I said this as soon as Hillary put her name in the hat to run for president. I said people always underestimate how much the Republicans or even some Democrats hate the Clintons. I
They
never
didn't.
thought
Mhm.
she was going to win.
Mhm.
Because she's a Clinton,
She ran a
and they
bad
hate both of
campaign.
them.
Let's be real. She ran a horrible campaign.
I don't care what kind of, and so you're going to vote for Donald Trump as the alternative based off of
Well,
a bad
I'm not. I
campaign?
didn't. But I'm just saying she
But
ran a
even
terrible
before,
campaign. She
but even before she started her campaign, the foundation for that hate was there. They never got
Mhm.
over it from when Clinton was
Yep.
president,
true.
and so
She
I
didn't
never thought
counteract
she
it
was going to
properly. Yeah.
win. I never thought she.
Let me get this comment.
But
So
yeah, Miss Jenny was in D.C. on January 6th showing her arse. So yeah, this goes to a large conspiracy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the fact that he will not recuse himself from
Hmm.
cases involving January 6th
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
Mike Winter points out that he rarely writes coherent opinions, which is true, actually. Um,
Hmm.
Jacqueline Robinson, Jenny Thomas is unhinged trash, and her self loathing husband is well aware of his wife's activities. It's not enough for him to recuse from such cases. He needs to get gone now. There's a reason why there's a separation between the three branches of government. Such access to the White House is unheard of. Very true. And Mike Winter points out Grim Reaper stopped by his hospital room just to check on his Bama ass. Wait,
Yeah, and notice how
what?
he conveniently got sick. He conveniently got
Oh,
sick, was in the hospital before the confirmation hearing. So it's a lot. It's a lot there. Do I think they're going to impeach him or anything's
I
going
don't
to
think they
come
will.
in the form of punishment over this? No,
And
no.
they're so good at protecting each other. So good at it. I mean,
That's what criminals
Trump
do.
was that's why they struggle with Trump because Trump was hard to protect because he really didn't care.
Right.
He just figured he could do anything. So, but man, they very very good at protecting. Jacqueline Robinson says her campaign was flawed, but she won the popular vote. It's our antiquated electoral system, college system that caused her loss. I'm gonna just say it. I know this is tangential, but I still disagree with that because she should have done some things to make sure that she was able to get some of those electoral votes that she lost, like Wisconsin and a few others.
Right.
You
Who
can't.
should
She
lose?
did run a bad
Michigan.
she did run a bad campaign. She
It
did
was a
run a
bad
bad
campaign.
campaign. But I'm not gonna let the left off the hook either. Because there are sometimes folks on the left can be incredibly petulant.
Yes, true. Very true.
When
Bernie
Bernie,
Sanders.
I know people specifically. I've broken bread with them. I know that when Bernie did not get the nomination, they were like, "Well,
Mm.
I'm not voting,"
Yes.
and that's
Oh,
ridiculous.
that was
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Look, Hillary wasn't
I got
Susan
mine.
angry with
Hillary
people.
Sarandon,
wasn't mine.
Susan Sarandon, we talking about you, girl.
Like Hillary wasn't my choice, right? But you know
Wasn't mine
what?
either.
Sometimes you gotta hold your nose and check the box for the good of the country. And
Right. That
so
again
yeah,
falls in.
it was a number of factors that led to where we are.
That again falls into my question. What does it say about the country where the best alternative for presidency was Donald Trump, and you voted for him? And I don't even think, to my knowledge, that Donald Trump expected to win. I think it was
He
just,
did.
you know, yeah, he was surprised more than anybody that he won. And now here I am, president elect. I have all this power that, to do all these, ridiculous things while I'm in office and have, to impose my will over the next 4 years on America. That's absolutely insane. And to the folks that voted for him, that says a lot about them as well, personally.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I'm a just challenge. I'm sorry. I know we were talking about Clarence Thomas, but I would just challenge that. I still think that uh, Hillary Clinton should have taken Bernie Sanders, unless Bernie Sanders didn't want it or rejected it. Should have taken him as her vice president candidate. But anyway, I think she made a lot of mistakes. But Jeanette Brown says, "What about the country not being ready for a woman?" Hmm, good point. All
I
right.
mean, maybe.
really that woman.
You know, that yeah. I think the country's ready for a woman, but like Liz said, it's that woman in particular. People just really
That
didn't
was a tough
care
one. Yeah.
for
It was the
her. Yeah,
Clintons in general. The Clintons were
yeah, yeah.
Clintons were rough.
So this is what's going to happen with Clarence Thomas because he did this, when the confirmation hearings were going on regarding Anita Hill back in what was it, 91, 92. He's going to come out if he is, held to account for some of this. He's going to come out and he's going to cry and say it's a public lynching.
Oh
This
God.
is just
I swear to
another
God, if he
public
said it.
lynching.
Oh my God.
That,
Yeah.
that's what
So
he
all right.
goes.
So what do you think
That's his
about
go.
it? So
That's his
well,
go.
one more comment. So Latoya Blakely says, of course not. Every photo they took of him, I think she's talking about Trump, that day was of him looking shook. Like, what the hell do I do now that I actually won? All right. So are we calling this truth,
Truth,
lies,
lies,
or
shenanigans.
shenanigans? This nonsense.
this whole thing is full of lies, man. Like it's full of lies, which lead to more shenanigans.
Which leads to shenanigans and bullshit and lies.
What do you say, Marcus? Truth, lies, or
All of it.
shenanigans?
I think it's both lies and shenanigans. There's nothing. I mean, there's the truth is in this story itself, but and to the authors of the article, but just lies and shenanigans in the actions of everybody that is involved.
It's
So
nonsense. I say
And
impeach
this
him, but
happens when people are
I know they won't.
apathetic towards politics. When people do not pay attention to what's going on in their democracy and political system. This is what happens.
All right. All right, Lizzie, you're up next. You got a kidnap victim feeling pretty generous with her kidnap. What's going on?
So this story, we talked about this story, I think maybe a year or two ago, when it came out that Gloria Williams was the actual kidnapper of baby Kamiyah Mobley. So in 1998, Kamiyah Mobley's mother, who was 14 at the time, gave birth to her in a hospital. 8 hours later, Gloria Williams, she dressed up as a nurse, went in, snatched the baby. The baby was never heard from for almost 20 years. She raised the baby as her own, changed the baby's name to Alexis, and it started to unravel shortly. I would say after Kamiyah became like a teenager, she questioned Gloria as to why she didn't have a social security card, why she didn't have an ID. So she told Gloria told her early on, before she was found out by authorities, that she was in fact the kidnapper. So in 1990, in 2018, she was sentenced to 18 years in prison. And it's been a tough road for, Kamiyah and her mom and her dad in terms of reconciling and getting to know one another. But while Gloria has been in jail, Kamiyah's had a very difficult go of it. So it came out this week, she's petitioning the court to be lenient and to let the woman who raised her kidnapper, out free, out early. And so my question to the panel is, and this isn't about, how Kamiyah has reacted, right? Because again, a lot of the back and forth between her and her birth mother has not been pretty. But this is a question about the justice system. And if Gloria Williams, who took this baby when she was only 8 hours old, if she should be shown some type of leniency and should be released early.
So, real quick, I want to jump in here. So, I get the child's perspective, especially since she felt like she was a good mother. It's a horrible thing the woman did, but the child is basically being further victimized, not having access to her mother she grew up with, and apparently
She has
a
access to her
loving,
mother. She could go visit her in jail.
apparently a loving mother. I mean, she could visit her, but it's not the same. Now, but with that said, the woman must pay for her crime. I don't think her sentence should be reduced at all. Um, Because if there's a happy ending to this story for a baby stealer, it'll signal to other potential kidnappers that the reward outweighs the risk. And it can't be a slap on the wrist for someone stealing someone's baby, because as someone who wants children, I can't imagine my opportunity to raise my child being stolen from me like that. I feel like she's got to pay. And 18 years, that sounds about right for me. I don't think it needs to be reduced at all. Micah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Look, I understand that. I understand where like this has to be an incredible like mind f for the child, right? For the 18, 20-year-old. You can write all the letters you want, man. That doesn't no. You kidnapped a child. You kidnapped a baby. I don't know, man. With kids, I get very uh, you don't mess with people's kids, man. You really don't. And when my son was born, the hospital made it a very they made it clear. They made it a priority to let us know every single step from when that baby comes out to to where the baby will go while the mother recovers. And they said you could walk with us every step of the way, and that's what I did because because people do stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think this woman does not need to get a reduced sentence. Um, if you are on good behavior or whatever, like good, you're supposed to. So like that doesn't like that doesn't like that doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, no, you need to stay in prison, finish out your sentence, and come back out into the world. I'm fine with that. But
What you think?
no,
What you think,
I get
Marcus?
Man, this is a tough one for me. Just understanding where the Kamiyah is coming from, because all she knows is this kidnapper, who we know as a kidnapper, as mom. And
Mm-hmm.
now she's being, she's at a young age at 23. Now, and I saw, I don't know if you guys looked at any of the news video clippings, but she's got three moms now: her stepmother, that's married to her dad, and then
Mm-hmm.
her actual biological mom. So that's got to be very tough for that young lady. My heart goes out to her.
Yeah.
I can relate to the parent side, especially the dad side, because I don't know if I talked about this in my book, but one of the stories that I went through was when my youngest daughter, Vivian, when she was born, I got to see her for 4 weeks, and her mother hid her from me. Was involved in a relationship with a man, and then they got married, and he didn't want me to have anything to do with them. So they were hidden from me for a good period. I think it was about 3 years while I was in college. I had to, I never forgot about her, but I had to do things in college to get myself together. And about 3 years in, I started making phone calls back to the city of Chicago. I went to University of Illinois in Champaign, Urbana, 2 hours away from Chicago, and I started calling the clerk's office in Chicago, trying to figure out what I needed to do to get visitation rights of my daughter. I finally found a person that taught me what I needed to do. I filed a case pro se in Chicago, had to drive 2 hours at least once a month back for court. It lasted about 8 months. I didn't have an attorney, I didn't really have any help from my parents at the time. And the only reason why me and my daughter were able to reconnect was because the attorney for my daughter's mother passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
she was in the process of getting a divorce from the gentleman that she was with at the time.
Wow.
Uh, so I get, what his statement was of how he had to wait 18 years before he could be reconnected with his daughter, in a sense. And whereas I've had times where I haven't been connected with my daughter. And of course, as you guys know, I have never met my grandbaby at this time. But as
Wow.
far as just to get on topic, uh, the woman, she committed a crime. The daughter is old enough now to acknowledge that she committed a crime. There's nothing that's going to be done to take that back, or she can't give back the 18 years that she stole from the parents away. But in this country, you do the crime, you've got time to do.
Right.
I don't think there's anything that prohibits the I forgot the mother, the kidnapper's name, Gloria Williams, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
There's
right.
nothing medically wrong with her or anything. It's just the daughter, Miss Mobley, can send out all the pleas that she wants, and that's commendable, and that she can forgive and just still looks at her as mom per se. But in this country, she's got to do the time. It's
That's
as
right.
simple as that.
Right.
'Cause, I agree
Liz,
with Micah. Go ahead. I'm
right?
sorry.
No, go ahead, Marcus.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I agree with Micah in that if she gets out for good behavior or whatever the case may be, even though he doesn't agree with that type. I understand that, but that's understandable. If they decide 3 or 4 years from now they want to let her go because of good behavior or whatever the case may be, if she gets out for that reason, then I'm okay with that. But other than that, you still took several years that you can't give all the growth spurts, all the first words, and all she took all of that away from her biological parents, and so for that reason she needs to stay put.
Yeah. Real quick, Jacqueline Robinson says there should be no reduction in this baby thief sentence. He stole the years of the birth parents who could
Yep.
who could spend with their child who missed every milestone. Lizzie,
Yep.
your thoughts?
Or not even just in addition to missing every milestone. This is one of the things that's made me sad about this story, as it has unfolded over the years. There has been a very little consideration from the public for the birth mother and what she went through. One, she was a teenager when she had, Kamiyah, right? She was 14, maybe about to turn 15 years old. Um, Lost her baby 8 hours later, baby stolen for her. And then for the next 18, 19 years, lived every day of her life wondering what happened. Where is my child? Is my child alive? Is my child dead? Is she being taken care of? Has she suffered? Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished? Is this a punishment towards me? That is horrible. It is a horrible experience. And, as much as folks want to talk about how, Kamiyah was a victim, the birth parents were victims too, and for a lot longer. And I don't think we should get into this, habit of one Wayne, who was more of a victim, but also get into a habit of, well, a child needs their parent. Listen, there are plenty of people in jail, plenty of criminals who have children at home, and they too need to do their time. I do, hope that, Kamiyah can come to a place of some type of peace with everyone involved, but also understand that your kidnapper, the woman who raised you, deserves every bit of that time.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
And even worse, she's an adult now, so she's not entitled to that time. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
like she can say, "Hey, I want you to come live with me and be a part of my life now, or I can start raising you and teach you some things." No, the child is an adult. The child can do whatever she wants. She has to earn that time back with her child. It's sad. But
No winners in this situation.
no.
None. None.
Real quick, Latoya Blakely says, pisses me off. Who the hell was she to take that experience away from that girl's actual parent? I couldn't imagine that anguish.
But
SMH
what we haven't
SNF.
talked about here is why she took the baby. Trying to impress a man.
Is that what it was?
Trying to impress. That's what it was. Trying to impress.
Really?
She
Oh
has
my
older children.
God.
First and foremost, she has older children that she lost custody of before she took Kamiyah. Got in a relationship with a man, trying to impress the man, and say, "Oh, this is our child. I was pregnant. This is our child."
Hmm.
That's how this, and that story
She might
is
need some
as
more time.
common as the sun
18 might not have been
rises.
enough.
It's sad, but it happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, so Lizzie
I
said,
couldn't,
"Are
yeah,
you serious, Lizzie? What in the entire hell?"
Yeah,
Um,
I
it's a
couldn't
very
believe
sordid
it when
story.
I couldn't believe it when they told me that at the hospital, and they said it happens more than you would imagine, and they have like locked doors, and there are you need certain passes to enter certain areas, like they keep everything locked off, like in a bank or something like that,
that's the way it should be.
because
I'm down with that.
right, like I couldn't believe it.
Right. So is this truth,
Truth,
lies, or
shenanigans.
shenanigans?
I don't even know what to call this. I
I
guess
know
it's
this is
shenanigans.
like none of these really
Not
fit.
like,
I'm
but
going
not
with
like funny
Yeah.
shenanigans. Not like funny shenanigans.
we might need to
You
change the
know,
name of our show and add another word in
truth, lies, and bullshit. I keep
Truth,
telling
lies,
y'all,
and
truth, lies, and bullshit.
all right. Latoya Blakely says all shenanigans. All right. All right. So this is our last topic of the day. Let's turn it over to
Y'all,
Micah Payne.
even
So
Micah to
the
bring
question the question I pose to the panel is this allyship or is this exploitation? So, a new opera about Emmett Till is actually it has been released, um, but a petition was created that reached 12,000 signatures as of right now to have it taken away. It is an opera written uh, by a white woman based off of her play, Emmett Till, Down in My Heart. The opera is written by a white woman and the music is composed by a black woman, her friend, who were about 15 and 20 when Emmett Till was murdered. Um, the critics of the opera are saying that they take issue with it because the opera allegedly centers around a fictional white woman who saw the lynching and did not speak up. The main crux of the argument is that Claire Cross, the writer of the play and opera, has creatively centered her white guilt using this play to make the racially motivated, brutal torture of a 14-year-old child about her white self and her white feelings. She is essentially um, uh, telling the story from the perspective of a fictional, progressive white woman. And it is more concerned with showing audiences that not all white people are bad. And she is not actually insisting upon the fight of racial justice. So, is this allyship? Is this exploitation? And are white creators, quote unquote, allowed to tell Black stories, particularly ones involving Black trauma?
Real quick,
Let's
just
go with.
real quick, I just want to make a quick correction. So, not a correction, but a little more information. So, the main character that you were talking about, the white woman, that was in her play, but the actual main character in the opera is not the white teacher. In fact, it's Manny Till, Emmett's mother.
Okay.
So, just to
But
let you know.
but the white woman appears in
Yeah, but
the
that's
opera,
not the
right?
main character. Um, I didn't read that she appears in there. Um, but okay, but I just wanted to
The
clarify.
au-
Just add that.
so the authors also responded by saying, yes, the opera has a fictional white character, but it isn't about her. It's a true story that happened in our American history that could be told by anyone. Um, and she's saying that this character is here because predominantly the opera audience is predominantly a white going audience. And that character is there to help the white audience understand that, like, basically see something, say something. And they quote Martin Luther King uh, by saying, an injustice everywhere, an injustice somewhere is an injustice everywhere, and you have to speak up in order for these things. If you those who don't speak up, you're a part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will throw it to Marcus first, Neo second, and Liz third.
That
what,
works.
do you, what do you say, Marcus?
I just got all angry again now hearing you talk about that. As I mentioned to Liz yesterday, my mother was a principal in Chicago. She's now the superintendent of the school district in Michigan City, Indiana. But her school that she used to be the principal at was recent. The name of the school was James McCosh. They recently changed the name to Emmett Till Elementary School.
Nice.
That's the
Mm.
irony in all this. I think this is shenanigans because, and I think the article spoke to some of the criticism that, this is being used for white entertainment. That's the part that's disturbing about it. Why not just tell the story? I think, people are focusing a little bit too much on the fact that the author is white, but if the author is white and she's doing this for her own white audience, trying to tell the story from a white perspective, that's the BS part. Because the story is what it is. We all know what happened. Emmett Till was lynched unnecessarily because he whistled at a white girl. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little bit pissed off
Don't
because
be
I
pissed
am.
off.
Now. But I think to sit here and try to characterize a play or opera in language that white folks understand, they just need to understand that back then in the day, and we all know that all white people aren't bad. I have a lot of great white friends that and all over the country, and that's not what the issue is. Is that you're trying to take something that is very a serious situation. You want to tell the story, you've got to dramatize it, so don't try to change it into or spin it in a way that can be explained to white folks because you can explain it to me in plain language. All you need to do is explain it a story in plain language to help them understand where we are. You're not going to erase what happened, and how that fits in with every other story of how African Americans have struggled throughout the course of the history of time. Just tell the story. Stop
Mhm.
making exceptions because you're trying to make white folks understand. If they don't understand how you tell the story, so be it. I mean, then they just don't want to understand the story. You know,
Yeah.
that's the part that could don't feel like you're not going to make adaptation to us. You know, when you're trying to talk about a story that was influential as far as a white person in history. So why feel like you don't need to change the story or change the connotation just to make them understand better? That's crap.
Yeah.
I probably could have said more choice words, but you know.
All right. So, all right. So my view is a little bit different. So when I first saw the headline, I was like, damn, what are these Trumpers complaining about again? I figured it was Trumpers complaining about an Emmett Till, something. You know how they are how they're doing with critical race theory. So I figured that's what they were complaining about. But then I read it, I was like shaking my head because for me, it was felt like the proverbial crabs in a barrel. Because I tend to agree with the opera's creator, and she's a black woman. So Mary D. Watkins, right? So she says it's very disturbing that people are condemning this piece without having seen or heard it. I know it's been released since, but they've jumped on the fact that the playwright is white and assumed all kind of things about the content of the play, even though there are many artists of color involved in this project. The critics are assuming we have had no impact on the final shape of the piece and that the playwright was somehow forced all of us to tell her story. It's an insult to me as a black woman and to the company members who are African American. So, I mean, I would rather the story be told than not be told, as long as it's not inaccurate or lies. Um, but I can go see it for myself and then make judgment. If it's full of lies and inaccuracies, then I point my fingers at the white writer probably. But otherwise, you know, I don't. I mean, Black Panther, for example. I mean, was a mostly black cast, right? But I guarantee they had some white people working on it. Um, I know the executive producers. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, I don't know that we can say at this point that she's not telling the story right. We're just going off of what people think based upon the play she previously wrote. I'll turn it over to Liz. What do you think?
I absolutely can say that she's not telling the story right. I can say to the Black people that are in this story who are responsible for producing this story and bringing it to the opera with this added character, yes, I can say that you're wrong. And just because you're Black doesn't mean that I have to agree with how you present a story to me. My issue with adding a Black character and the original author of the play said this as the reason why, I'm sorry, white character, as the reason why she was adding this character was because she was trying to placate white folks. Okay, you can do that, but don't use Emmett Till, who has been lynched, who has been beaten, stomped upon, gravesite turned over 1,000 times. Don't use Emmett Till to try to white splain slavery, lynching to us.
Yeah, I don't, but I mean,
I don't,
I don't think she
no,
was
no, no, no.
saying
That,
that she was
that,
placating white people. She was
of course,
trying
she's
to
not
help
going
them
to say that
see it from a white point perspective.
why do they need to see it from a white point of perspective? It
Because
is like
they
Micah
don't,
said,
they may not get
it
it.
is what it is. Who gives a fuck if they get
Absolutely,
it?
absolutely,
The story
absolutely.
is what it is.
I need to
It
be able
doesn't
to
need
see
to be.
just because
It doesn't.
I need to see
Can
it.
you let me finish? Can you let me finish?
Go ahead.
The story is what it is. And when did this happen? This didn't happen last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you wanna make white people understand, why not talk to the woman who's still living who told this lie in the first place? One of your own. Understand her perspective and why she did it. Don't add someone in there talking about how they feel guilty because they didn't say anything.
I'll admit I don't
There
like
are
the
times,
added white character. I don't like that.
and that's the whole point. That's why critics are upset. There doesn't need to be any additions to this play to make white folks feel comfortable. Nobody should feel comfortable about this. Okay. And
Fair
so
enough.
that's why I have a problem with it. I don't care about white folks' guilt. I don't care about how, I feel bad because I didn't do anything. Whatever. That's on you. I don't need a play that adds a character to make me see how you may have felt bad in the situation. Absolutely, especially not Emmett Till. It's offensive to our community, but it's certainly offensive to his family. So no, I'm not down for this at all. Not at all.
So according to NPR reached out to Emmett Till's family, and they had no comment on
Hmm,
matter.
interesting.
Look, I don't have a problem with white people telling black stories, but I feel like you got to pick and choose them. This is a very, very sensitive subject. If you are going to tell the story of Emmett Till, tell the story of Emmett Till.
Don't be
If
adding.
you can't understand it, if you can't relate, you are the problem.
You
I don't. Right. The people that don't understand it, like if you can't relate to a child being murdered by a bunch of adults in one of the worst ways possible, you're the problem.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't need I don't need a black cipher to understand some of the plights that gay people go through just because I'm not gay, right? Like I don't need that one to one because I understand humans, right? Like the invention of this school teacher who doesn't do something, who sees something and doesn't say something. That is the worst part of it. You can tell the story of Emmett Till. Just tell the story of Emmett Till. I guarantee you, it's pretty goddamn captivating in and of itself.
It is.
I don't necessarily need, well, I didn't relate to this, but boy, I saw this Rowan Taylor character, and now it clicks. No, man, like that doesn't jive with me. It doesn't
Or
it
I'll take
doesn't
you
make
one
sense.
further. I'll take you one further, Michael. You know, his mother made it a point at his funeral to have an open
Right,
casket so everyone could see what was done to her child. If white folks or people who, may have been like, I don't really get, if they didn't get it after that, after seeing those pictures, there's no hope. There's no hope,
right.
period. Period.
You are preaching to you are. This is the definition of preaching to a choir. With
I gotta be honest, I need to
having this
see it.
character.
I
And
need to
look,
see because
to your point, right? To your point, all of this is alleged. None of us have seen this play, but
Won't see it.
I'm making broad assumptions based on the couple of articles that I have. But
Won't
I
see
don't
it.
know I don't know how much this made up character has in the story, but I don't know, man. I feel like
apparently
you
in
can
the
just tell us.
opera it has a lesser view in the story than it did in the play. I guess the play was different. So it was written differently, and it may have been because of the
Because of
collaboration
the people.
between Watkins and the other black people on the cast and crew. So
Right.
um, I'm just saying we can't. It's hard to be like, well, a white person should not be telling the story. I can't agree with that,
No,
but
and
I can.
I don't think any of us said that. I don't think any of us said that. I
But I
certainly
mean,
did
that's what a
not
lot
say
of the
white.
critics are saying.
Yeah, I don't, because listen, Steven Spielberg told The Color Purple in an excellent fashion, okay? Excellently. So white people can tell story. You just tell it accurately.
But the
Don't
majority of the
add
critics
anything.
The majority of the critics are pointing out that a white woman should not be telling the story. There
But I
are
think there's
some more people who go detailed and say, in addition to that, the reason a white person shouldn't be doing it is because, she added this character to placate and all this other thing.
but I
I'm
think
just
that's
saying.
where that comes from.
And I
A
think
white
that's the
I think
problem. The only
I think that's
problem, though.
where it comes from is that a black person would not have felt the need to add a white.
Hmm.
I
So
mean,
that's
I
why
don't know.
they
I
think
mean, there
a
are a
white
lot of
person should.
there's a lot of docudramas that uh, elevate certain stories beyond the actual story and add
Really?
characters. There's characters that are
No.
added in a lot of docudramas that are beyond the that are
You
fictional
act like
characters.
you're
It's
talking to
not
folks who
unusual.
haven't. You act like you're talking to folks who haven't watched movies or been to the theater. Of course, we
I'm just saying it's
know.
not unusual. So I mean, we're just
It's not
focused on the fact
unusual,
that if
but
a white woman
who
telling the
added
story,
a character that put who added a character talking about white guilt? Why would a black person do that?
I don't know that that's what her intent was. We're not clear on her intent there.
She said the
She didn't say.
original author of the play. She did say that. I mean, not those
what was her
exact
exact
words, but that's what she said.
That's
That's what
yeah.
she said.
I think we're interpreting her words maybe a little bit. All right, let's get to these comments online because we're out of time. Because there are a lot of comments on time. This was a great topic.
Read Jacqueline Robinson's comment.
Okay,
I
go
need
ahead.
to
You
get
read
you
it. You
on
read
that.
it. You got it up. Read
I
it.
didn't
There's a
even
lot of
get you
comments.
on that one. I didn't
You
even
read it.
get you on that one. Let me
Oh yeah, I
find
was
it.
gonna read that one. Neo, Black Panther, talk about apples and oranges to the black playwright. Isn't it strange how you feel you have to bend over backwards to make white folks feel better about themselves? Girl, take all the seats. Victoria Blakely, period. Who cares if it's not palatable? It's supposed to make is it supposed to make them feel better? What about Emmett's family? Do they get to feel better? The black people in the community who saw the miscarriage of justice and had to live these celebrated murders all their lives. No, if we in 2022 are still pissed about what happened to that child, and I am, then I'm sorry, but I have zero fucks to give about how a white person feels about it. Mike Wolf, I think I'm going to shelve the screenplay I was working on about my days working at Sports Illustrated, told through the eyes of a young editor. Mike Winter says, Neo, she said why she added the character. All right. So, okay. Great comments. But is this truth lies or shenanigans?
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
I mean, I feel like this is the definition of shenanigans, right? Like all
It
around,
is.
depending on how you want to define shenanigans. But I feel like there's some shenanigans going on.
I'm going with shenanigans as
Shenanigans all day.
You know, I always got a twofer.
well.
Always
It's a
got
little
a twofer.
shenanigans. I mean, I still
I
feel like we
always
should
got
be
a
a little more
twofer.
open, but at the
I
same
mean, next
time,
week
I didn't
we're
like
gonna
the
have
addition
somebody.
of the white character either.
We're gonna have somebody, writing a story about Martin Luther King's assassination and how, there was a white man standing there and he saw the gunman, but he didn't say anything, so now he feels bad.
I think it'd be a cool perspective. I don't know.
What?
No, I don't need that
How's
perspective.
that?
I don't need that. I don't need that perspective at all.
All right. All right, let's get into our game show. Lizzie's still shaking her head. All right. Great discussions. All right, so let's get into our game show. Our game show today is Ask. I'll simply ask some random questions provided by the app, and our host will answer the question and give us any story behind their answer they have. Person with the most interesting answers, judged by me, gets the final thought for the show. All right, so we're going to start out. Let's start out with Lizzie. Lizzie, your first question is, have you ever trolled someone online? Oh, I know the answer to this.
What you think you know? You don't know my life.
Oh, you trolled me. Shoot, what are you talking about?
No, I told the truth about you. I told the truth about you, brother. Wasn't no trolling. I don't know. Like, what do we mean by troll?
Trolling basically means you just go on to someone's post and just say something just to be saying something, basically.
No.
Do you get smart online with people? Do you get smart online with people?
Do you smart? Let's look up the word troll.
Are you a smart ass online?
Yes.
I'm a smart ass everywhere. I'm a smart ass
There
everywhere.
you go. You're a troll.
If the truth needs to be revealed, then I'll reveal it. I think Lane is, offering the opposite of that. Like, just making fun of people for no reason, or lying about people for no reason, or just blowing up their spot for no reason. I don't do that. But yeah, I might expose you. Will I expose you online? Absolutely.
Yeah. So she's definitely.
Absolutely.
I've been trolled by her. All right, what annoys you the most about others, Micah?
Everything.
Everything annoys you.
Everything. No. What annoys me the most about other people, in an online sense or just in general?
Whatever.
I think in general.
Online, everyone doesn't need a platform, but everybody has a platform, and it's annoying. And in general, I mean, most people you know what I don't like? I don't like in the way people. Like if I'm walking somewhere, like if I'm moving, if I'm walking, like I got my earbuds in or something, and people are just kind of lingering. You know what I mean? Like they're looking at a fast food menu. Like I'm just like, can you move out the way, please? Like that annoys me about
I
it.
feel you on
Anyway,
that. All right, hold on. Here we go. We got some comments online. So trolling, this is Mike Winner. Trolling equals dragging someone for filth. He says so. Yes. Mike Winner says a better question is: would anything I post online not be considered trolling? Latoya says not giving me personal space. Why the fuck do people who don't know you feel like they need to be so damn close? So that's what
Mm.
annoys her. All right,
Especially after this pandemic. Ooh,
I agree with you.
back up.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna skip this one for you. You don't have to answer this one, Marcus. All right. What is this? You ever did
have you ever done a ding dong ditch? Have you ever rang a bell and then ran away?
Oh,
Rang a
okay, there
doorbell
you go.
and ran away.
Have you ever done that, Marcus?
No. Can't even think back. I remember on Halloween, living in Chicago, folks ringing my doorbell and running away, but never. I never did that. No.
All right, Lizzie. Professional or amateur porn?
Damn, I should have answered that one.
What do you watch? Professional or amateur porn?
Both. Both.
Oh, both.
Both.
Yeah, no stories behind that, I guess. All right, all right, we're doing okay. Go to the next one. All right. Oh my God. Hold on, I'm gonna give you a different. I'm giving you a different. I want a different.
No.
All right.
All right.
All right, Michael. What's your most embarrassing date? Most embarrassing date, Michael.
My most embarrassing date. I don't know. I hate dating. Like I listened to you so last week, and you had a relationship expert on there, and I had so much to say. I wish I could have listened to it. I hate dating. I really do. But I guess my most embarrassing one. It wasn't really embarrassing. It just I spent way too much money. I went and took this apple-headed woman out to dinner, and
Why she gotta be apple-headed?
it's the truth. It's the truth. Isn't that what you just said? Isn't that what you just said? I'm just saying. Her head looked like produce. But like, I'm not bitter at all. I'm not bitter at all. Not bitter at all. I took her out. And we had a really nice meal, and we went to a comedy concert. Chris Tucker wasn't funny at all, and it just wasn't a good date. Like we didn't really vibe, and it just wasn't a good date.
All right, Marcus. You're planning a romantic evening, a dinner at home. What will you do? What's your romantic evening?
So I got to tell this story from my college days on
Oh.
Valentine's Day. A buddy of mine had decided to cook dinner at my house. I had a 2-bedroom apartment to myself. We had a jacuzzi in the back. Don't ask why I was living that lavishly in college, but I was.
I would.
So anyway, we invited these 2 girls over. We told them we were taking them out to dinner. And my buddy was, he was kind of always putting on lotion and all. He was kind of slow. So I went to go pick them up, and I told them we had to go back to my house to get him because he wasn't ready. So they were, pissed off, all angry, and we left the door unlocked. So one of the girls walked through the door, or walked in the room. We had candles on the table, candle on the floor. I had cooked pot roast, my savory green beans. We had fresh dinner rolls. We had it decked out. We had ate dinner. Had music playing, so we danced, and then we separated a little bit. 1 or 2 of us went. Me and one lady went to the back room. We didn't do anything, and him and another young lady sat in front. I'm not gonna say any names because of the part I'm about to tell. So immediately, maybe about an hour after taking a nap, I hear, the young lady I was with, she went to the bathroom and closed the door. Next thing I hear, oh shit, Asia, your hair's on fire. So apparently he put a candle on the floor, and the young lady leaned back into the candle, and her hair caught on fire.
Oh,
So
damn.
I see the lady running back to the bathroom, hollering, no shirt on, and just opens the door. And the friend that was in the bathroom, all I heard coming out was "God damn." I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's fine. What?
Yeah, so I didn't believe him when he came back. He said, "Man, my hair just caught on fire," and I thought he was just joking. I didn't know why he did that. But then I walked to the front room, and lo and behold, it smelled like burnt candle wax from her hair. Because back then she was wearing a jerry curl and things of that nature.
Man, you telling your age, boy.
That was in 1998. I was a senior at University of
You had a
Illinois.
Jerry curl in 1998?
She had a curl. Not she had a curl.
Some kind of curl.
Curl.
All right.
I don't know if it was Jerry curl or not, but anyway, if I'm planning a romantic evening and dinner home, I mean, obviously I'm gonna deck it out, put candles all over the place, have music playing on, my sound bar, and then I like I said, my specialty still to this day is pot roast. I won't say what my pot roast does to women, but it has been very effective for me over the years.
All right. You know what? I'm having too much fun with this with these questions, so I think we might miss the after show this time because we're already running over. So I just want to get some of these comments. So Latoya Blakely, OMG, we called it Nick Knock, and from 12 to 15-year-old, all we did is we did it in my grandmother's neighborhood. I guess knocking on doors and running off.
Oh.
All right, everybody's laughing at Applehead comment. All right. All right, Jacqueline Robinson. Most embarrassing date was the dude who said we were going to dinner. I get dressed up only for this clown to pull up to the 7-Eleven to buy a couple of hot dogs. Luckily, I drove my own car and left him there. Latoya Blakely's telling hers. Mine was with a dude. Say it again. You didn't know that one?
No, I was saying Jackie. No, I said I know who that she's driving, so I know who that was.
Oh, okay.
I know who that was.
All right. So Latoya Blakely, mine was with a dude who I went to Bus Boys with, who over the whole hour we were sitting there was incapable of carrying on a conversation. And then when I asked for separate checks, this fool says, "I thought you were taking care of it." What?
Stop it.
I paid the bill and blocked his number while I was sitting there waiting to sign the check. He said, "Call me when you get home." I said, "Sure." Drove home, never talked to him again. Woo!
Lord.
Not a Jerry curl in 1998.
No, yeah. I've got a good embarrassing date one for you.
Great, what you got?
Years ago when I was living in Atlanta, I took a young lady out on a date. Girl I was dating at the time. We went to dinner and I had John Legend tickets at the Fox Theater. I had bought them off somebody on Craigslist. So we get up to the Fox Theater after dinner. She's got on heels, mind you. We get up, scan the tickets. Tickets were bogus. So I had to instead buy standing room only tickets. So we stood in the back row of the Fox Theater, and she had to stay in heels, and she had to stand. Yeah, she had to
That's
stand,
embarrassing.
with John Legend. So that to this day is the most embarrassing. That's why I will never buy tickets off anything that's not.
I don't do it either.
StubHub or anything like that.
I stopped doing that too.
Wow.
All right, Lizzie, one more round. We're gonna do one more round. So Lizzie, what's the name of your sex tape?
I don't do.
All right, I'm gonna skip this one for you. All right. What would you say to your pet if it could speak?
Hippity pat, 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 because that's all he does all day. Smack me
Hippity
in the
pat.
head.
I'll slap you in the head.
Hippity pat, hippity pat, hippity pat.
All right, Micah. Who's the biggest? Oh no, that's.
Sexist question.
What is the best plan for a Friday night?
Oh man, now getting Maxwell in bed by 8 o'clock.
To get the baby in bed by 8 o'clock.
That's it. That's all I can hope for.
All right, last question. Oh, this is good. So, Marcus, what's your best childhood memory?
Best childhood memory. Wow.
So we can just ask everyone this. Well, everybody to answer this one.
I can
And we'll
tell
close
you,
it out with.
I am a diehard Bears fan, and I started watching football in 1985 when I was 8 years old, the year the Bears won the Super Bowl. That following training camp in August, I believe, my mother took me to a preseason game with the Bears against the Bills. and we ended up staying at the same hotel that the Bears were staying at. So I was able to get all the autographs of all the players, coaches, all the. I mean, that was I was 9 years old by then, and then that's the thing I remember to this day. I still have the little Holiday Inn notepad that I got everybody say. I mean, I'm talking about the fridge, Jim McMahon, Otis Wilson, Dan Hampton, Wilbur Marshall, Richard Dent. I think one of the coaches, the special team coach at the time, tried to hit on my mother as well. So, I mean, but I remember her telling me that part. But yeah, that was far and away my best childhood memory
Love it.
when we went to Notre Dame to see that and have that experience.
All right, Lizzie, Micah. Well, let's start with Micah. Best childhood memory.
Something that I want to do with my kids. It's nothing special, right? I just remember I was 5 years old. The first time I left Maryland was when my dad took me to Disney World. I was 5. It was just me and him, and because I've never been like super close to my father. Like not because he was a bad dude or anything, but just because he was constantly working.
Mm-hmm.
So spending that time, I still remember. I was really young. I still remember going to Disney, just me and him. I would love to do that with my boy. So,
Love it.
yeah.
Liz, best childhood memory.
I mean, I don't think, there is a best. There are multiple good childhood memories, but
Me too.
one that sticks out, of course, it's going to be with my dad. My dad's birthday, as I've mentioned 1,000 times, is on Halloween. And so my brothers used to go trick or treating on Halloween, change costumes, and then go back out trick or treating. So we always had an abundance of candy. But then one year, and this set the precedent, they went trick or treating. I was still too young. They came back from their last round, and then we had a huge party. And my dad, who, was very laid back, didn't like a lot of fuss. I think he was really taken aback by it because, Halloween was for the kids.
Yeah.
And then here we come with this big old party, and we had a great time. We had a great time. I think I was maybe like 6 when that happened. So that was one of my great memories in our house. Nobody was fighting. Everybody was getting along. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Oh, Jacqueline Robinson said, tell him about that Christmas, that bike you got for Christmas.
I mean, I got a lot of good stuff for Christmas. Got a lot of good stuff for Christmas. I mean, you could talk about the Christmas where, I thought I wasn't going to get anything because I have a mouth. And I told my parents that I found my gifts underneath the basement steps. And both of them looked at me like, they not your gifts no more. So I'm, upset, crying, think I'm not going to get anything for Christmas. But all of the gifts were under the tree.
All right, well, Latoya Blakely shared hers, and she wrote a long one, so I'm going to go ahead and share it. I mean, might as well. She says, wow, there's so many. One of the ones that makes me laugh to this day is when my grandmother took my cousins and I to Sandy Point Beach. We were 7, 6, 5, 3, and 2. She pulled up to the beach and saw the admission sign that said senior citizens and handicapped were free. So without hesitation, she looked at the 5 of us and said, quick, act retarded. So naturally, the car full of children laughed
Stop it. Stop it.
at what was, of course, a joke until she pulled up to the window and said, 1 senior citizen and 5 handicapped children, please. so, so we're laughing even harder because she wasn't kidding. And what was worse was that the lady believed it. She told my grandma to have a great day. Car full of kids laughing so hard that they were crying at a free day at the beach. So my best childhood memory is actually, like you say, Liz, there's a lot, but it's actually a Christmas memory, like your bike. But I was, let's see, we had a lot. It was like a really good year. I think my parents got a bonus or something. We had a ton of stuff under the tree, which was kind of rare for us. And I got a guitar, and I just remember that being one of the happiest moments of my life. I was just so ready to play the guitar. I still sort of remember how to play it because they gave me lessons and stuff too, but I just remember the guitar. That's one of my best childhood memories. All right. Well, that was a fun game show. Like I said, we won't be having an after show because we went a little long here, but it was fun. All right. Let's close it out with some shout outs, guys. All right, Lizzie, starting with you. Some shout outs.
Shout out to my high school alma mater, Woodrow Wilson. Finally got the nerve to change the racist name. So
Oh,
we
did
are
it?
now Jackson. Oh yeah, it's official as of this past Tuesday. So
Wow.
we are now Jackson Reed High School. So
Jackson Reed?
Jackson Reed.
Okay.
Reed stands for Vincent Reed. He was the first Black principal in DC public schools, right? Well, at least Wilson's first Black principal. But he was also a DC public school superintendent. And then Edna Jackson, who was the first Black teacher at Woodrow Wilson High School. So Jackson Reed High School. Very proud.
Oh.
Very proud.
Also, I had no idea. All right. Micah.
Shout out to my wife. We both like movies, and the day that we are recording this is Oscars, the Academy Awards, and we like to just kind of sit there and be catty and laugh at what people are wearing. And we'll be rooting for Will Smith to finally get his Best Actor Oscar so he can start doing fun movies.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I didn't really buy his performance, but okay, that's another story. All right, Marcus, shout outs.
All right, I'm gonna do half and half. Shout out to my you guys want to check out my book. It's on Amazon. It's called I Ain't Done Living Yet. It's on Amazon, or you can go to my firm's website, MarquesEasonLaw.com, which is www.MarquesEasonLaw.com. You scroll down on the first page, you can see the links to the book there. Also want to shout out to my daughter, Amber, who in Atlanta. Her stage name is Savi Divine. She's amazing. I love her to death. I'm so happy to be able to spend the time that I am to spend with her, especially having a second chance at life. I try to maximize as much time as possible, given that, we live in two different states, even though there's a possibility I could end up back in Atlanta soon. But I love you, my baby girl, and I just want to give a shout out to her.
Oh, love that. Love that. And my shout out goes to Posh Cycling and Fitness. By the way, you can get the link to Marcus's book, I Ain't Done Living Yet. And that is actually in the description on all of our platforms. So go ahead and download that book right now. It's right there available for you. But my shout out goes to Posh Cycling and Fitness. We had an open house this weekend. Free classes, great vendors, lots of fun, pretty well attended. So if you're in the DC area looking for a fun place to work out, visit posh.fit. And our last shout out goes to Alicia Vasquez and her beautiful white kitty Jasper. See Jasper and all of the pets join the TLS Pet Shenanigans Facebook group, mypetshenanigans.com, and you can share your pets as well. Beautiful white cat. All right, that is officially all of the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us. We hope that you maybe learned something, gained a new perspective, even got some things off your chest. Next week, we will not be live, but we'll replay some of our favorite moments that you may have missed, some things from our after shows as well. And don't forget, subscribe to Beyond the Scars podcast at beyondthescars.show. We will be back the following week. That is the 10th. Thank you. We'll be back the 10th. All right, looks like our winner for the final thought of the show. Best answers from the Ask. Marques Eason. Marques Eason. Close us out. Give us something good to talk about.
So what I use a lot for motivation, believe it or not, however you like him or not, Steve Harvey. I used to live in LA, and he used to give motivational speech a moment through his beginning of the show and the exit part of the show. The only thing that I would say is motivational. Enjoy life. Life isn't promised to all of us. I was blessed to have a second chance in life and do a lot of amazing things. You get one. you know, you might as well do everything that you want to accomplish during that time period, because once we're gone, we're gone. You know, you can't take money with you. You can't take, you know, material things with you. All you can leave on this earth is memories and experiences with those you love. And, you know, that's the important thing when you look at your tombstone and you have the born date versus your death date. That dash is the most important thing on there. And, you know, you want to live your life and make that dash meaningful so that you leave a legacy both for everybody that loves you and everybody that you love as well, and have a lasting memory here. So hopefully that answered the question. I didn't do any blah, blah, blah. Like,
No, thank you so much, Marcus, for that.
Thank you, Marcus.
That's a
Thank you.
great final thought. All right, and thank you, Lizzie, Micah, Marcus. Thank you for joining us. But most importantly, we've got to thank you for watching and listening to our shenanigans each and every week. And we will see you next time.
Right.